So what if I told you that one of the most famous pieces of financial advice out there is actually a trap? Seriously, that whole idea of skipping your daily coffee to get rich, it's not just kind of incomplete, it's a dangerous distraction. Today, we are putting the latte myth under the microscope, and I think what we find is going to change the way you think about money.
You've heard this a million times, right? It was made famous by the author David Bach, and it's called the Latte Factor. And honestly, it's a really compelling story. That $5 coffee you buy, it's not just a coffee, oh no. It's this silent thief, just draining your wealth one sip at a time. The advice sounds so simple. Just cut it out, invest that money instead, and boom, the magic of compound interest will turn your sacrifice into a fortune. It sounds so logical, so responsible. But is it actually good advice?
And that's the big question we're tackling here. Is this really the secret to financial freedom? Or is obsessing over tiny, everyday pleasures actually a huge distraction, one that pulls our attention away from the things that really build wealth?
Look, the whole concept got famous for a very simple reason. It's emotionally sticky. A cup of coffee is something we can all picture. It's tangible, it's relatable, and it makes for a really easy villain in our financial stories. Let's be honest, it's way easier to blame a beverage than it is to confront the really complex, kind of scary stuff like stagnant salaries or the insane cost of housing. And I want to be super clear about this. The math behind the latte factor, it isn't wrong. Not at all. It's just a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle. The real problem here is that it's a masterclass in misdirection. By making you feel guilty about a $5 coffee, it completely distracts you from the $1,000 or even $10,000 decisions that actually shape your financial future.
So let's actually look at that math, because you can't deny its power. This is the engine that makes the whole latte factor idea so convincing, the absolute magic of compound interest. When you see the numbers laid out, you totally get why this idea took hold of everyone.
Okay, check this out. This is where the story gets really interesting. Let's say you do save that $150 a month, what you would have spent on coffee. If you just stick it in a jar, after 30 years, you've got $54,000. Not bad, but what if you invest that same money into a simple S&P 500 index fund? Now, assuming a pretty standard historical average return of 7% a year, your $54,000 could grow to almost $183,000. That's a difference of nearly $129,000 just for making your money work for you. It's huge.
So you see, the debate isn't really about saving money versus not saving money. It's all about where you choose to put your focus. On the left here, you've got what we'll call symbolic frugality. That's the latte factor way. It's all about using your willpower, feeling guilty, and policing every single penny. But on the right, that's meaningful progress. This is about building smart systems, automating your savings, and freeing up your brain power to focus on what actually moves the needle.
And this brings us to the hidden cost of the whole latte factor mindset. It's not just about the $5, it's about your most limited, most valuable resource, your mental energy. Constantly policing these tiny little purchases, well, it's a recipe for something called decision fatigue. We all have a finite amount of good decision-making fuel in our tanks every day. So if you spend your morning debating whether to buy that coffee, and then you argue with yourself over a snack in the afternoon, what happens later? When you have to face a truly massive financial question, like, should I negotiate this job offer for more money? Or should I refinance my mortgage? Your willpower is already shot. You're just tired, and you're way more likely to make a bad choice. Or worse, no choice at all.
This quote, man, it just absolutely nails it. It turns money management into a courtroom drama about lattes. Think about that. Instead of treating your finances like an engineering problem, an optimization problem about things like cash flow in your career, you get stuck in this endless loop of guilt over a $5 treat. Okay, so if the latte isn't the problem, then what is the answer? Let's get to the good stuff, the empowering part. It is time to shift our focus away from all that small stuff and onto what the experts call the big wins. These are the high-impact levers that are truly responsible for building real, lasting wealth. Here they are. This is it. These are the pillars of real financial progress. Instead of sweating a $5 coffee, the real leverage comes from increasing what you earn, strategically lowering your single biggest expense, which for most of us is housing, slashing what you lose to investment fees and high-interest debt, and making sure your tax strategy is as efficient as possible. These 5 areas, this is where your focus belongs. Just think about this for a second. Let's say you spend a few hours, just a few hours, preparing to negotiate your salary, and you land a $10,000 raise. That one action, that one afternoon of work, is worth more than 2,000 lattes. It's not even a fair fight.
Or what about housing? You make one big decision, like choosing an apartment that's just a little more affordable, or refinancing your mortgage, and you save, say, $300 a month. Well, that adds up to $3,600 a year. That is a structural change that pays you back every single month without you having to use an ounce of daily willpower.
And oh man, this is a big one that so many people miss. A 1% fee on your investments. It doesn't sound like much, does it? But over 30 years, that tiny fee can eat up a massive chunk of your returns. We are talking tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just by choosing low-fee funds, you're basically giving yourself a huge raise for doing no extra work.
So how do we actually put all this into practice? The answer is to stop relying on your mood or your motivation. Instead, you build a powerful, automated system that does all the heavy lifting for you. A system where progress is the default setting.
So here's the playbook. It's simple. 1. On payday, automatically transfer money to your investments. Pay yourself first. 2. Invest before you spend, not with whatever's left over. 3. Keep a separate, guilt-free account for fun stuff. Go on, buy the latte, enjoy it. 4. Review your big expenses like insurance or cell phone bills just once a quarter, not every day. And finally, number 5, focus all that saved energy on the big wins. That's it. That's the system. And this brings us right to the ultimate takeaway. Let's say it one more time. The latte was never the enemy. The real enemy is confusion. It's mistaking that feeling of being frugal, that symbolic act of saying no to something small, for actual, meaningful financial progress. The truth is, you can skip coffee for your entire life and still end up broke if your income never grows and your money is never invested. All right, before we wrap up, just a quick reminder. This is all for informational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor, so you should definitely consult with a qualified professional before making any big money moves. Thanks for tuning in, and here's to focusing on what really, truly matters.